Alright, let's dive into something that's got the sports world buzzing right now. Imagine you're a quarterback, you've got the weight of a team on your shoulders, and you're just itching to get back on the field. But there's a catch, literally. Michael Penix, the Falcons quarterback, recently dropped a quote that's got everyone talking. He said, "I can't afford to have someone trip and fall on me right now." Now, on the surface, that sounds like a pretty straightforward statement, right? But if you take a step back and think about it, there's so much more going on here. This isn't just about avoiding a clumsy teammate, it's about the fragility of an athlete's career, especially one who's battled injuries like Penix has. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is the context behind it. Penix has torn his ACL three times. That's not just bad luck, it's a career-defining challenge. And now, even though he's feeling good, even though he's confident he can do everything, he's being held back. Why? Because the risk is just too high. One wrong move, one accidental fall, and it could all be over. This raises a deeper question: how do athletes balance their desire to compete with the very real fear of re-injury? It's a tightrope walk, and Penix is right in the middle of it. What many people don't realize is how much this cautious approach says about the Falcons' strategy. Head coach Kevin Stefanski isn't rushing Penix into team drills, even though there's pressure to get him ready for the season opener. That's a bold move, especially when you consider that Tua Tagovailoa is also sidelined with back tightness. The Falcons are essentially starting camp without their top two quarterbacks. From my perspective, this isn't just about protecting Penix's health, it's about protecting the team's future. If Penix goes down again, the Falcons' season could unravel before it even begins. One thing that immediately stands out is the timeline Penix mentioned: another 4 weeks possibly before he moves to the next stage. 4 weeks. That's cutting it close if he wants to start the season. But here's the thing, rushing him could be worse than not having him at all. What this really suggests is that the Falcons are playing the long game. They're not just thinking about week 1, they're thinking about week 18 and beyond. And that's smart, especially with a player who's as injury-prone as Penix. A detail I find fascinating is how Penix's past injuries are shaping his present. He said he's been cleared earlier in previous ACL recoveries, but this time, it's different. The repeated injuries have forced a more conservative approach. This isn't just about physical recovery, it's about mental resilience. Every time he steps onto the field, he's got to push past the fear of what could happen. That's a mental battle that most of us can't even begin to understand. If you take a step back and think about it, Penix's situation is a microcosm of the larger conversation around athlete health in sports. We glorify the grind, the no pain, no gain mentality, but at what cost? Penix is a prime example of what happens when the body can't keep up with the demands of the game. In my opinion, this should spark a broader discussion about how teams manage their players' health, especially those with a history of serious injuries. So, where does this leave the Falcons? Well, it's a waiting game. They've got to hope Penix's recovery stays on track and that no one, literally, trips and falls on him. But more than that, it's a reminder of how fragile success can be in sports. One injury, one wrong move, and everything changes. As we watch this story unfold, it's not just about whether Penix will be ready for week 1, it's about whether he'll be ready for the long haul. And that, my friends, is what makes this story so compelling.